Welcome back, my friends, to the Derate the Hate podcast. I am your host, Wilk of WilksWorld.com, and I am so incredibly grateful that you are taking the time to join me for another powerful DTH episode. Friends, at the Derate the Hate podcast, it's all about bettering the world one attitude at a time. See, we did not create the hate, but with your help, we can derate the hate. That all starts with gratitude and personal accountability. We cannot control everything that happens to us in life, but we can control how we react to it. How we act, how we react, no matter what happens to us, how we react to it makes the difference. Friends, there is only one good thing about a bad attitude, and that is that we have the ability as individuals to change it. Here on the DTH podcast, we strive to bring you great guests and provide tools to do just that. Please be sure to share it with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Ratings and feedback are always greatly appreciated. And with that, let's get to this week's episode. Anyone who's listened to the DTH podcast for any amount of time has probably heard me mention the quote, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Now, this quote carries profound meaning in relation to another topic that I speak of often, and that is the perpetual victim mentality. You see, my friends, too often, individuals perceive themselves as helpless victims of external circumstances, attributing their struggles solely to external forces beyond their control. What happens when one chooses to fully embrace the essence of the quote? Challenges that perception and helps to empower individuals to take ownership of their actions and attitudes. This shift in mindset fosters a sense of agency, resilience, and hope. This is one of the reasons I am so passionate about doing the Derate the Hate podcast, having the conversations that I am blessed to have, and this is why I like to find guests who are bettering the world by being the change that they want to see. Now, my guest this week, King Randall, is a 23-year-old native of Albany, Georgia. Seeing a need to help enhance and advance the lives of the young men in his community, he set out to take action to combat the high poverty and crime rates in his southwest Georgia city. In doing so, King founded the X for Boys Life Preparatory School and its related programs. The Life Preparatory School for Boys is a 501c3 charitable organization with a mission to teach boys the true meaning of manhood and to be protectors and providers for their communities. Now, unfortunately, not all see the merit in what King is doing or how he is doing it. In a true keyboard warrior fashion, they take to social media to attack his efforts. King, however, is not deterred, and he keeps up his mission to better the world by being the change that he wants to see. Welcome to the DTH podcast, my new friend, King Randall. Here we go. King Randall, thank you for taking the time to join me on the Derate the Hate podcast. Man, I appreciate it very much. I've been looking at your stuff, and I can't wait for this conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, man. Especially after everything that happened over Twitter and things like that. So I'm excited. Let's do it.
Yeah. And speaking of Twitter, King, that's kind of where it started for me, because one of the things that obviously with a name like Derate the Hate podcast, right? One of the things that I'm looking for is, the first thing that I'm looking for, King, is people that are trying to better the world. Better in the world, one attitude at a time. That is our mission. That's what we're here to do. So, and then when I see somebody who's putting in the work, putting in the effort, doing these incredible things, and then the kind of pushback that I don't get it. It strikes me as odd that people would push back against people that are trying to better this world. But I've seen that. You have this like loyal following of haters, which I don't understand. But I want to talk a little bit about that. But first, King, I want to know a little bit about you and the X for Boys school, and what is the X for Boys? What's going on there?
Sure. The X for Boys program was a after-school program started in 2019. I started this program after one of my classmates was sentenced to 30 years in prison for hiding a weapon that was used in a murder. He wasn't actually at the actual crime scene, but he hit the weapon. And we didn't have any rehab or any type of recidivism programs for, juvenile offenders or anything at the time. That's what I found out. And that's when I decided I wanted to start working with boys in the community, because I'm just like, these children need something. I don't know what it is, yet. Of course, I was 18 at the time. I'm like, we need something done, with our boys. And that's where I got the idea. I started doing field trips with young men, taking them, to Atlanta, to different museums and things like that. Many of our children had never traveled outside of the city of Albany, Georgia. And to this day, we still have even adults here who've never even traveled outside of the city. So to see that buildings are big, or that the ocean is blue, these are experiences that they need to have. So I started out doing that. Then I did summer camp out of my house in my dining room area.
Nice.
And it's just something I had to do. And I was 19 at the time, and I still thank God for those parents who trusted me at the time as a young man myself to be able to teach their children how to work on cars and work on houses, and doing firearms training, doing as many different trainings, as we can. So after that, I realized so many of our children could not read. And that's what stuck out to me. The children were not reading and writing. And it was crazy to me. These children are in different grades. They're in different areas, and I just can't read and write. And I'm like, how exactly can't you guys read and write? That's where I got the idea. So listen, I'm going to open us up a school one day. I don't know how we're going to do it. Don't know where we're going to get the funds from. I wasn't posting on social media at the time. I'm just like, listen, we're going to do it. We don't know how
we're going to make it happen.
We're going to figure it out. I don't care if we got to start a homeschool right here in the dining room. That's what we're going to do. And I was so serious about it. And I started boarding children at the time from the juvenile court system, children who needed somewhere to go, whose parents couldn't handle him, and I would just take them with me. I got some bunk beds and I put them in my living room, and I made it happen. And so that's something
just took that big brother mentality to the next level. No, that is so cool, man, because one of the things that I've talked about a number of different times, and I've had conversations with some incredible people on this podcast, but one thing that comes up quite often in my conversations is how important it is to have that strong male figure especially in a young boy's life. I mean, not to discount the importance of that in a young girl's life as well, but especially young men, right? Because if men don't find a strong, positive male influence, chances are real good they're going to find a strong, negative male influence. And that's the worst thing that can happen to a young man.
Yeah, I always tell people most boys are always going to mimic whatever male is around, or they'll mimic the person that's around them in general, and it may not be a male. And most of those males that they usually run into on the streets usually help them turn into, criminals, or turn into people who just aren't good people at all, because they want some type of male influence. And if they have no male influence, then they start acting like the women around them. And that's not to any fault of their own. It's just that's their environment that they're in.
It's just what they know. I mean, it's natural for a kid to, I mean, they're little mimics, right? I mean, that's what they do. They learn, they become what they see. They become what they're most aware of. I mean, I don't care if it's somebody with a bad attitude, they're going to turn out with a bad attitude. If they see somebody that's violent, chances are they're going to turn out violent. If they've got somebody yelling at them all the time and demeaning them and not doing positive things with them, chances are, like I said, they and males, they have this strong desire to do something, have a purpose, right? And especially males. I'm not taking anything away from the young women and that might be listening to this, or their parents, but these young boys that are trying to become men, if they see that negative influence, they're going to think that that's what they've got to be, and they're going to do the ugly. I mean, that's really what it comes down to with a lot of this crime, a lot of these gangs and things like that. In Albany, Georgia, right? Albany, Georgia. What is it that it is? I think you said the stats show that it's one of the seventh highest crime rate. It's more seventh most dangerous city.
We're number one for crime. Yeah, we're number one crime for Georgia, and that's real sad, especially considering our city's not that big as far as population. We're only like 74,000 people here, and it's alarming, especially for our boys who don't have many male figures. I think it's like 80% single moms here. And it's just sad. Again, the kids want some type of influence, and to see the children want to do better. They want somebody around them that's going to challenge them and make them be better. Because I have such a great relationship with many of the boys that I've worked with in the past, and just seeing them want to be better kids and wanting to do better and wanting to know how to read and wanting to know how to write. A lot of the kids, they truly just miss out on a lot because they don't know what they don't know, and they don't see possible. The only possible they see is football, basketball, or rapping. And I'm just
Right.
like, there are so many other avenues to where you could be successful as a Black person, especially, in America. And we have so many people who do, push back against me because they feel like it's impossible for us to be successful unless we have reparations or unless we have this or that, or the
Right.
government.
Right. Right.
And again, like I told him before, even if I support or don't support that fight, that doesn't mean that I shouldn't do anything. That doesn't mean I'm not going to get in my community and do nothing. And that's where we butt heads. I'm like, if that's your fight, do your thing. I don't have an issue with that, but I'm not going to not do
Yeah.
anything because they're saying, well, if we do for self, then that's hurting our reparations case. And I'm just like, why do I have to not do anything? There's
Yeah.
so many successful Black people, so many rich Black people, and so many Black people that own businesses, so many Black people that are leaders in Fortune 500 companies, CEOs, etc., and that are living great lives. And we need our children to see this because they could better themselves and help their families and leave a legacy for other Black children that have to grow up and things like that. Not just sit around and say that we need this and never do anything. Absolutely not. I
Yeah.
disagree with that.
That defeatist attitude, King, is one of the worst things. I call it the perpetual victim mentality, and what happens is once people start to get there, once they fall into that perpetual victim mentality, they start to
Mhm.
seek out these points of affirmation, and they actually start to actively push away real opportunities. And I want to
Right.
get back. I want to get back to that in a second. But first, I want to hear more about the actual school. Now, the
Mhm.
school, I've and then we're going to transition into the haters because I've got to hear this. Like I said, these folks that say the stuff that they say is just, it hurts my eyes when I'm reading it. But
Yep.
so the school itself. So how many boys you got in that school right now? Because
So,
and what was the background of these youngsters that are there with you now?
Sure. So we have 9 students in our boarding school. Our school is boarding, and
Okay.
it's completely free. We don't charge for anything that we do. We've never charged for anything, field trips, after school, boarding, whatever. We've never charged, and we only have 9 students for that reason. Of course, we turned down becoming a charter school because we just did not want government overreach in what we were trying to do. We did have an opportunity to become one, but like I told them, I'd rather have our 9 students than 150 if we aren't able to do what we wish to actually do with our students. So we stuck with our 9 kids, and these students, they have all different backgrounds. A lot of them couldn't read. A lot of them were overweight. They've lost weight. They're doing a whole lot better. As far as reading and writing, it's still a process with them. We had a kid come in who couldn't, like, he was reading like at kindergarten level, and we have 6th grade students. It's terrifying, honestly, because we have Georgia milestones next week, and we know he's still not where he needs to be. Like, it's a little tiring, trying to catch them up on top of things that have been going on at home. And we've been able to save a lot of children from their home environments and being abused and molested and starved. And I mean, it's so many stories. I could go on and on. And for people who work with children, they know exactly what I'm talking about, because these students, they go through so much. And we're always alarmed at our students who, say, I don't want to go home. Can we stay home with you guys? Can we just not go for break? And I don't want to go home. And I'm just like, why don't you want to go home? Like, we're thinking about paying attention to stuff like this. So, it's overwhelming, but they all have different backgrounds. But it turns out for the best in the end. And of course, our program doesn't have like a 100% success rate, and every child coming here is just going to be this immaculate human being. We butt heads with parents, we butt
Right.
heads with the students, and sometimes it doesn't work out for them.
Right.
As much as we would love for it to, it doesn't. And
Right.
that's something I don't want people to start thinking. He's like, oh, just every kid's coming there, just gonna do. No, no, no.
Yeah.
We might not be for every child. We might not be
Right.
for every
Right.
parent. We might not be for every family.
Right.
And that's something that's in every program. But our school, like I said, we have 9 students. And our curriculum is a basic curriculum. Of course, I don't think anything is wrong with the basic school curriculum, except for who's teaching it and what routines and habits are the
Yeah.
children doing.
Sometimes the extra stuff that they're throwing in there. So how does this work then, King? Because so are you? So you guys do you have the same students each year, and then you guys are progressing by grades, or do they come to
Yeah,
you for a couple months after they've been in trouble and then go back to the regular school? How
nope.
does that little thing? I mean, what's the routine?
So they stay with us. So they started out in sixth grade, and they're gonna stay with us until they graduate high school.
Oh wow,
Um,
okay,
yeah. So we do plan to add a grade every year, um, if we can. Again, financially. So next year we do plan to add more sixth graders, and then the sixth graders that are with us will go to seventh grade. So that's what the plan is looking like right now. And then of course I'm about to add maybe a couple 4 to 5 kindergartners. My son, my biological son, is actually going to be attending our school. I mean, he attends now, of course, but he's in pre-K with the teacher I have for him. But we're about to transition to having him in kindergarten. Of course, kindergarten homeschool, and I want him to have classmates. So we're going to have maybe a couple, maybe 4 to 5 kindergartners come join with us, and we plan to have them go all the way there. Go all the way to high school and foster that brotherhood amongst those children as they
sure.
get older, and they'll be inseparable, as they become adults. And that's something that we want to see in our boys. So yeah, that's kind of what the dynamic looks like as far as taking children and what our school looks like. But the after school program is for all boys ages 11 to 17.
Oh,
It's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We do Bible study, we do workshops, we do field trips. Next week we have camp. We're going camping, and stuff like we have a lot of activities for our boys to be able to participate in. So. Mhm.
nice. Yeah, I've seen some of those videos that you got online, and it's great stuff. And like I said, that just having that positive male influence, and then I as a Christian, I love the fact that you're getting them involved in the Bible study, and stuff like that. So that's an important thing as well. I mean, if you can guide somebody with the the positive male influence, you guide somebody with the Bible study and stuff like that. I mean, you're giving these kids an opportunity that they very most likely would not never have had before.
Right.
So that's incredible. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity for these youngsters, and I'm sure, and as I understand it, most of them probably had already had a run in with the law, right? Even at 11 years old.
Yeah, some we have. We've taken a lot of children that have had run-ins with the law. Like I'm talking about super early. But again, when we get them, like the kids who've had the trouble background are the ones who are I guess I would say the sweetest or the most hardworking. Like those children who have those hard stories are the ones who are some of our best students. Like we have more issue out of the kids who have mom at home and dad at home and things like that. But our kids who we get to come into our school and just be with us and learn from us and just have us around them. Those are some of the best students we've ever had. Like one of my best students, he had an armed robbery charge, and he's like the greatest student that I've ever had, grace our program. He's awesome, great grades. He came in and I completely shifted him. We were able to, shift them all the way around, just giving them God, giving them wisdom, giving them strength, teaching them how to do things. Right now he's working in a lawn care company. He's just doing what he can, and he's staying out of trouble and staying away from the wrong people. But every time, we would send some of these kids back home, maybe for a week or two, they get right back in trouble. It's the environment change that is what they need. And
Yeah.
that's why we started doing boarding.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. So let's talk about these haters, King, because I don't get it. Maybe you can, maybe you can help me understand it. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you don't understand it either, because you don't strike me as a hateful type. But what is it? What do you suppose it is that gets these people's ire up? Why do they get so angry at you for trying to better the lives of these young men and provide something that they weren't otherwise getting other places? What's going on with it?
Yeah, to be completely honest, they really have an issue because we have white followers and white supporters. It was never a real issue until we got invited to the White House with President Trump and some Republican people started supporting us and things like that. Nothing to do with politics, never trying to use us for anything. They just wanted to help. They wanted to donate. They wanted to see how to participate. And of course, we're going to showcase people who help us and things like that. And it started with little conversations in person. Like, oh, you got some new friends now and blah, blah, blah. It's like, they try to make it seem like I turned my back on the Black community. I'm like, dude, I literally work with Black children every day, helping their moms pay bills, etc. We're teaching them, getting their grades up. I mean, what are you talking about? And, even on Twitter, well, I like what you're saying, but you saying this in front of all these white people and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, what you want me to say? Hey, everybody, hey, look, white people, you're not allowed to agree at this particular moment. Let me talk to Black people for a second. Like, this is what it sounds like. I'm just like, you guys, I don't know what you guys want, but if it's the truth, it's just the truth. If white people agree or disagree, who cares? I'm going to say what I want to say. And people want me to give them my mouthpiece. Of course, everybody wants me to speak for their cause, and everybody wants you to say what, they want you to say, and they don't really like people who just going to say what they want, regardless of who agrees or not. I'm just like, I don't care who agrees. I'm going to say what is the truth. And if white people agree, cool. If Black people agree, cool. If nobody agrees, cool. We got to say the truth, regardless. And that's just the direct issue, with some of the Black people that hate me so much. They swear I'm a coon and selling out for white people, blah, 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 blah. But I always tell them, I'm like, well, if you guys hate white people so much, and they're like, oh, you're just scamming white people using these talking points. I'm like, well, if you don't like white people, what is the problem? If you say you want reparations, here are white people donating to a Black cause. I'm like, make it work. I'm just saying, it's like you're what you're saying is making no sense.
I
don't get it.
I don't get that either. I mean, I mean, you talk about your mouthpiece, and I noticed you got a few followers on Twitter. What is it, about 87,000 followers on Twitter now, something like that?
I think I got 81 on
81,000 followers on Twitter. Yeah, it's a few. And I'm sure they're all, I'm sure they're I'm sure that they follow you because they want to hate on you, right? No, I think the thing is there's a real hunger out there for people who inspire. There's a hunger out there for people that see people that are doing good, King, and there's always going to be a few out there that want to hate on somebody, because, like I said, that perpetual victim mentality, it is something that plagues so many people, and it's certainly not isolated to one group of people.
Right.
Those people racialized as Black, those people racialized as white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. There are so many people out there that think that if they're not successful, somehow it's got to be somebody else's fault. And then they just start to seek out points of affirmation for it. And when they can't find those points of affirmation, or worse yet, they find somebody that has completely turned that theory on its head, then they almost feel like it's a personal attack on them, right? Because they're like, if this guy's doing it and I'm not, and him and I are, for the most part, on the same level on everything, why is it that he must be selling something? He must be some kind of con man. Yep. He must be, he must be putting on some kind of grift to be getting what he's getting, doing what he's doing, because if he's got what he's got and I don't have what and I don't have it, there must be something amiss. And I think that's very unfortunate. Talk to me about
that. Jay-Z has a line in one of his songs about how when Black people become successful, they automatically assume that we have something bad going on, like no Black person could be successful unless they're in the Illuminati or unless they're selling out to the white man, or unless. And so he says the devil got people hating their own kind. I gotta be in the Illuminati if your man shine, like that. And he's saying, I can't just be successful. I have to be doing something wrong. I have to be doing something bad. I have to be calling this person, and they have to be funding me. And you can't just be a successful Black person. They feel like no Black person could be successful at all unless you're doing something wrong. And I really want to get rid of that, mentality. Like, people, I mean, they making whole Twitter spaces to say that my school isn't real. I'm like, we have a whole building that we've invited people to come, and we've had people come from all over the country to help renovate our school building. At one point, we posted every single video of our school, all the buildings we purchased, the land we purchased, the students in the school. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this one guy went on this tirade, like trying to convince people that it was not real. I'm just like, and he was almost convincing some people that had been here. I'm like, are you gonna let this random guy try and convince you that the school isn't real when you've been here, you've seen videos? It was craziness. But again, if you say something enough times, it becomes the truth almost. So if you say it 100 times, by golly, it'll become the truth. But yeah, that's where we are, man. It's like they refuse to think that Black people cannot be successful. We can't be successful unless something's going on. You got to be selling out. You got to be grifting. You can't just be a successful Black person. You can't. You got to be a scammer. You got to be this. You got to be that. And that is a mentality that I want to try and get rid of in the Black community. Is you can't be successful unless you're doing something wrong, and
Right.
unless you're dealing drugs, or unless you're sold out to Hollywood or something. Like, no, it's successful Black people that are just normal, who are not selling out to the white man or none of that stuff. They're not in the Illuminati. They're not in the Freemasons. They're just regular Black people that worked hard and made some money and were successful. That's it.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I mean, you're a young man yourself, and obviously you're putting in a tremendous amount of work. I mean, you're what, 23, 20, or
23.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah, 23 years old, and you're putting in an incredible amount of work. And the cause is incredible. I mean, the cause is absolutely incredible, and I think people need to realize that obviously you don't get into the line, you don't get into charity work and doing things like that to become, exorbitantly wealthy or things like that.
Right.
I mean, you have to have a genuine heart for helping, a genuine heart to give back, a genuine, things like that. And as you show these young men this, and not just the young men, I mean, you talk about your 9 students. 9 students are one thing. The 81,000 people following you on Twitter and watching the things that you're able to do,
Right.
it's that's the thing that really makes the difference, King. That's the thing that where you can really make your mark is
mm-hmm.
when other people see, because Albany, Georgia is just one spot, right? I mean, it's just one little place. But the thing that I want people to realize is just like a mustard seed, right? A mustard seed, tiny little seed, can grow into this incredibly, like, massive thing. And with a mouthpiece like yours, like you keep on talking about, you can take that tiny little seed planted in the brain of people all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got 9 students and then another King pops up in Camden, New Jersey, or Kansas City, or St. Louis, or any one of these metropolitan areas that are just so riddled with violence and crime and let's face it, youngsters that are running around out there without a positive male influence.
Right.
You plant that seed in other people's mind and then show them, look, this guy's 23 years old and he's killing it for these boys. He is doing incredible work to make a positive difference so that these 9 boys don't end up spending their life in and out of jail, spending their life battling the judicial system, if they even make it that far. It's so important, the work that you're doing, King, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I want you to talk a little bit more about the boys and about showing them that mindset, because that mindset, when people that they surround themselves with, and it's not that the children surround themselves with them necessarily, but when a parent especially tells their child that you cannot accomplish anything because the man is going to keep you down. White people are going to keep you down. The system is systemically racist, and
Mm.
There's nobody out there denying that racism is real. I mean, it's real, but I don't think it's the systemic racism that people are trying to make it out to be. This isn't the 1960s. People of color, there's a very good chance that they could see greater challenges over the course of their life than other people. But that doesn't mean the whole system is broken. That doesn't mean the system is out to get you and it's out to destroy you. What does that do to a young mind from your perspective, King? I know you can't speak to somebody or speak to everybody, but how do you see that type of mentality manifesting for these young boys that are told, whether it's at home or it's from the media or their local politicians saying, yeah, we got your back, we're going to take care of you with whatever. But that whole mindset of telling a youngster, you can't get anywhere because of the color of your skin, or you can't get anywhere because the man's going to keep you down, whatever. Tell me about that. How do you feel? How do you think that plays out for them?
Yeah, I told some guys on Twitter, about this. We were having this conversation because I'm just like, I understand what you guys are saying, but I want you to look at how exactly would it benefit me to tell an 11-year-old that anything that he tries to do, the white man is going to stop, and the government is going to try and stop it and burn it down and whatever else y'all telling, people. He's never going to want to do anything with himself. Well, what's the point in having a dream if I can't never succeed? And the white man is just going to stop it. And like, imagine me, this kid comes to me and like, Mr. King, I want to do this. And I think it's going to be awesome and amazing. And I want to build this and make this happen and blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's important to let them know about different obstacles that may get in their way and help grow them there. I'm not about to tell him, no, it's probably not going to happen because the white man's not going to let you, and the government is not going to let you do that. And I also try to get them to see the government isn't just out to get black people. The government out to hurt everybody. It's not there for just to hurt black folk.
It is not your friend. I don't care what color you are.
Hispanic people, they getting Indian folks, they getting the Chinese, they getting us, you, them, your mom, your grandma's sister, your great granddad's cousin. Like they getting everybody. I'm just like, it's not exclusive to black people, I promise, or people of color. It's gonna get white people too, or whatever. But that's just the game of trying to talk to people. But it's not gonna do any good to tell a kid, that he's not gonna be successful. Like they're telling you, like it's destiny for failure. I can see if you told them, okay, well maybe this obstacle might be in your way, or this might get in your way, sure. But like this lady was telling me, like you're destined to fail. You're destined to fail because we have to have reparations. There's no way that this is going to ever succeed if we don't get this and blah blah blah. Like she's like, your school's destined to fail. There's no point in doing what you're doing and blah 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 because we need to get reparations. You need to go fight in the political spectrum. I'm like, I have stopped so many kids from being molested and fed and teaching them how to read and things like that and blah blah blah. We've saved so many kids. You're telling me that I should stop my particular fight to come help you fight your fight? No, that's not my area. The liver doesn't do what the lungs do, and the lungs don't do what the heart does, and the brain doesn't do what the feet do. Like everybody plays their part, so that way the body works. I want you to go fight for political action, for the students that I'm working for, but I'm not going to stop working with the students. That makes no sense. I'm like, that's dumb, and that's my dilemma. I'm like, I don't have to stop what I'm doing. Don't diminish anything that I'm doing because you're doing work. That's dumb. So, but here we are again. So,
no, that's right. I mean, and like I said, that's that perpetual victim mentality, and when people convince themselves that there is no hope, when people convince themselves that there is no hope, they stop looking for reasons to even try.
Right.
They stop. Yeah, they stop looking or putting forth the effort, and then all of a sudden it's I'm not going to put in the work. I'm not going to put in the effort. I'm going to try and find the easy way. I'm going to try and find the quickest hustle I can find.
Right.
And then now all of a sudden, this guy asks you to take this package down to the corner and just take that for me, and it'll just be this one time. And you find out, oh wow, it's easy money. Next thing
they'll convince a kid that that's the best way to do it. Like if I'm selling drugs now, I'm just out here trying to make it happen, and I'm just doing the best I can, and that's all I can do. But let me do something successful or make something out of myself. I must be in the Illuminati. The white man must have you sold out to the white man. But if I'm selling drugs, it ain't no issue now. I can sell drugs to my grandma and auntie on the side of the road. But excuse me for going to, actually get a business license and actually be successful. Sorry for going against the grain and doing the right thing. I need to go sell drugs and go. They'll make excuses for you robbing the store. Oh, this is because of poverty and racism. Is a microcosm of this and that. For him to go rob a store. But if I happen to become successful and try and teach other boys how to do it, then we must be sold out to the white man. There's no way that you just were successful out here in these streets. You didn't just wake up every morning and put in work or anything. You had to be doing something wrong. I'm like, but these guys are selling literal drugs to your kids and they are getting strung out and hurting themselves. I think that is evil. I think that is why I don't care how much money I need to make. I refuse to give a kid something that I know could kill him, or I could give them something that I know they can become addicted to. But he's just trying to survive out here. This is all he know how to do. But I'm trying to teach somebody else that ain't all you got to do. You can try and do this too. And I'm wrong. You shouldn't tell them that. They need to be taught fighting for reparations. Blah, blah. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, I'm wrong though, but this is the arguments we have. It sounds completely stupid, but this is what they convince themselves.
Yep. No, I know, and like I said, it's unfortunate, but I think what is very fortunate is the kind of support you get. I mean, the kind of accolades, and I don't want to put too much of a spotlight on the haters because one of the reasons that I started the Derate the Hate podcast, King, was because at one time I was saying stuff that there was a lot of people didn't like the stuff that I was saying, and I was putting out some controversial stuff. There's no question. And I was going to start this thing as like this haters happy hour and highlight the people that were, telling me to go kill myself and telling my, wishing bad things upon my family and stuff like that. But I got to thinking about it, I'm like, the world is there's so much good in this world. Why not highlight those people that are really doing good? I just do think it's unfortunate. The only reason I wanted to bring that up about the haters today is because it boggles my mind. And you have actually taken a very proactive stance and taken the high road in so many ways to deal with those people and push them off to the side. And despite the nonsense and despite the haters, you're still doing incredible work. So let's finish out. I know we're getting close to the end of our time here today, King. Let's finish out by telling me. I know you said you would like to add a grade and continue. Not necessarily. This isn't going to be a situation where you're going to fill up this school with kids, but you're going to keep it really tight knit. Keep a small group so it can be a little bit more individually focused. Talk to me about the long-term goal. How you see this thing growing year by year. What's the ultimate plan, King? And I love the fact that you're getting your own children involved. That's a beautiful thing. I would love to, I'm certainly going to follow your story. I want other people to follow your story. So tell me, just paint that picture for me, King. How does this thing play out over the next several years? And then tell the DTH listeners how they can, what's the best way to find you?
Sure. Well, long term, it's so hard to talk about because, we've had so much happen so fast. Because I didn't see our school opening as fast as it did. I didn't see us, purchasing our facilities as fast as we did. Like all this has happened in the span of 4 years. So a lot has happened so fast for us. But I do plan to eventually see a girls version of the program open also. We're probably going to start something out with after school and then go into actually having a boarding school for girls also. And finding just creating a sister program for the extra boys. That's what we want to see. I do believe in boys and girls being taught completely separate. I think that is extremely important. And so many studies have shown previously, why that makes better, children, because children are able to focus and even having uniforms, etc. All this is important. So we do want to start a girls version of the program eventually and do expand, across our state and across our city. We do want to expand over our city. We want to be able to have every child in the city come through the program, come through the school. That's what we want to see in the long term. But for everyone, who wants to support, we don't always just take, donations or monetary support. We have our Amazon wish list. We have a Walmart registry. people who want to send letters. We have our mailing address. We accept cryptocurrency. We just started that. One of our supporters of I can't even I was almost said his name. I can't say his name, but he donated cryptocurrency to our organization, and it's so many different ways for people to be able to give, and of course monetary donations. We have PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, everything, and it's a nonprofit, so donations are written off if you need that, and we send donation acknowledgments. But other than that, we are always open for anybody to come see us. Our address is public. People can come see us whenever they want. And, that's how you can support. And my social media is at New Emerging King for everything. And our website is thexforboys.org for you to be able to donate. That's THEXFORBOYS.org. Everything's there, from photos, videos, how to support our staff, what we have planned coming up, etc. It's all on the website. And you can subscribe to our mailing list too.
That's perfect, man. Yep, thexforboys.org. All of that information, along with social icons, will be in the show notes for this episode. King, such a great honor to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for the conversation. I appreciate it, and I hope we'll stay in contact, my friend.
All right, thanks so much. I appreciate you.
Friends, if there's anything in this episode that provided exceptional value to you, please make sure to hit that share button. Share it with your friends, share it far and wide. And of course, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe right from our website so you can get the Derate the Hate podcast sent to your email inbox every week. So this is Wilk wrapping up for the week, saying get out there, be kind to one another, be grateful for everything that you've got, and remember, it's up to you to make each and every day the day that you want it to be. If there is something that you would like to share with me, you can catch me on most social media platforms, or you can email me directly, wilk@wilksworld.com. With that, my friends, I am going to back on out of here, and we will catch you next week. Take care.